We are Blackmore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Well, today in downtown Detroit, the Tigers wrap up their 6-game homestand on a nice day for baseball. The Royals are in town, the final game of this 4-game series, and boy, do the Tigers need to win very badly. The Tigers come in a game and a half behind first place Kansas City, and the Tigers trying to snap that Royals 10-game winning streak here this afternoon. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, glad to have you with us here. The Tigers have lost the first 3 in this series, right, really every which way. The Royals have had good pitching, good offense, and yesterday some great defense. Tigers need to find a way to avoid the sweep today.
Well, they're going to have to match the energy of the Kansas City Royals because they've been walking around the last 3 days with a whole lot of swagger. Ned Yost has his team playing some of the best baseball they've played in the last decade. They have taken over first place. Tigers have the right guy going today in Anibal Sanchez.
They do, and Mr. Sanchez has been awfully good, and really his numbers over the last 6 or 7 starts have been good, but he's also dominated KC.
From a stuff standpoint, he takes a backseat to no right-hander for me in the game of baseball. When you've got a plus fastball that can get up to 97 miles an hour, you can throw that fastball wherever you want to throw that, and then you have the changeup and the curveball and the slider that you can throw with pinpoint control. You're going to dominate, and you see what he has done in his last 6 starts. 3-0 record with an ERA just a shade over 2, and the opponent's not doing very well against Anibal Sanchez. He will simply have to go up today and put up a bunch of zeros because that's what you have to do to sometimes break losing streaks. You have to just shut the other team out.
And hopefully that'll be the case here today. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Justin White coming up today. Boy, the Royals, they've been going all out, especially on the defensive end. They've made some great defensive plays in the series. Stay with us. Royals, Tigers, next. Is making his stroll out to the mound, preparing for his start here today against the Kansas City Royals. Here's the lineup he will face, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Aoki, Infante, and Hosmer, your top three today for KC. Billy Butler is the DH, followed by Salvador Perez and Lorenzo Cain in center field. Moustakas, Escobar, and Dyson, your bottom three. Cloudy, overcast day here at the ballpark today. The Tigers getting set to take on the Royals, and here's the first pitch of today's ball game. It's a strike called. Nori Aoki, who is back in the lineup after missing yesterday's game. Groin injury. Actually left game 2 in the series. And he drives this one in the air to the gap in right center field. J.D. Martinez can't get it. And the Royals are off and running again today as Aoki cruises in with a leadoff double. Anibal Sanchez today, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Kansas City Royals are picking up right where they left off the first 3 games, trying to score before the Tigers do. But Anibal Sanchez has to somehow limit the damage here in the very first inning, and all of his numbers say that he can do so.
So the leadoff double, and the Royals right away picking up where they have left off. Although they scored just a couple of runs yesterday, they put together a really good overall game to win game 3.
And you could tell that Aoki is not 100%. That is a triple all day long where that ball ended up. But he was simply jogging out of the batter's box and had to settle for a double.
Here is Omar Infante standing in. Been a big series for Infante. He's driven in a ton of runs. He tries to bunt the runner up and butts it back into the seats.
Now here's Aoki. He got a ball that was up in the strike zone, went out to get it, hit it over the head of J.D. Martinez, and you can see right now he is not running at full speed, barely getting to second base.
Twelfth double of the year for Aoki. Sanchez with the 0-1. Infante backs out of there. 1 ball and 1 strike.
If you're Ned Yost, you don't mind the fact that Omar Infante tried to bunt Aoki over to third base, because that's just the way the game is played. But as hot as his bat has been and as effectively as he has contacted the baseball in this particular series, he may as well swing away.
Here's the 1-1. Up and in, 2 balls and 1 strike on Infante. In the series, 5 for 12. He has 8 RBIs against the Tigers. In fact, he's had 9 RBIs overall this year in just 8 games.
And a couple of years ago, Infante and also Sanchez came from the Miami Marlins to join the Tigers.
Here's the 2-1 pitch, and it's hammered foul, back out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sunshine doing its best to peek through the clouds here this afternoon. No rain at the ballpark today, but it was really muggy and cloudy before the game started this afternoon. But sun now is starting to appear. Here's the 2-2. Missed it outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Royals had a late scratch to their lineup today. Alex Gordon was in the lineup. He has been scratched, and so they've moved their starting 9 around a little bit. Sanchez will step off. Ned Yost has his team rolling right now. They have won 10 consecutive games. They've been almost unbeatable in the month of June. And as a result, they have a 1.5 lead in the Central. 5th season as the skipper of the Royals, Ned Yost. Kansas City used the big bats in games 1 and 2, pounding out double-digit hits. Yesterday, they rode the arm of Jeremy Guthrie and some really good defense as well, and their bullpen was locked down at the end. And a 1-run win, so the Tigers trying to solve the Royals here today and manage at least 1 win. Here's a drive in the air to left. Here comes Davis, still coming hard, and Aoki will head back to second. Today's field conditions are presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. 73 degrees, a very pleasant 73 degrees, although it feels a bit damp and a little bit humid here at the ballpark. Mostly cloudy, but still a nice day nonetheless.
It's a nice job there by Sanchez, not allowing Omar Infante to do his job by advancing Aoki over to third base.
Here's Eric Hosmer, who has not done awfully well in this series. In fact, just 3 for 15, had a couple of hits a couple of nights ago. And Sanchez fires back to the bag. Hosmer has it safely in 7 of his last 8. Royals trying to take the early lead on the leadoff double by Nori Aoki. There's a ground ball right side, straight at Kinsler for the out, and the runner advances with 2 gone.
And while we have a moment, let's set the Tigers' defensive alignment this afternoon behind Anibal Sanchez, Davis, Jackson, Martinez in the outfield. Castellanos, Suarez, Kinsler, Cabrera in the infield. Brian Holiday has caught 3 games against the Kansas City Royals this year, and the pitchers, they've done quite well. And the earned run average with him behind the dish in those 3 games, just .211.
Here's Billy Butler now with 2 outs. And Butler looks at a ball low.
Watching Billy Butler take batting practice this morning, and he was absolutely hitting balls a country mile over the 420 sign in center field, very deep to left field, but yet only 2 home runs in the home run column. That might be one of the more surprising things of the season so far.
2 balls, no strikes on Butler, who has turned it on here in the month of June. Billy .333 this month, trying to drive in a 2-out run. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got in on him that time. 2-1. Butler just a couple of years ago in 2012 hit 29 home runs. That number dipped last year to 15. So did the average.
Made the All-Star team in 2012, and that game was in Kansas City.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. And that is going to be a fair ball down the right field line. It's going to be a 2-out RBI for Butler. He is on his way to second, and he is in there with a stand-up double, and the Royals have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Billy Butler just swinging that magic wand as we speak. Got a ball up in the strike zone at about 88 miles an hour and simply shortened up his swing and was able to fight it off right past Miggy down the first baseline for a double. When you're hot, you're hot.
It's the 32nd RBI of the year for Butler. And a clutch 2-out knock just inside the bag at first. He's going to bring up Salvador Perez. A 12-game hitting streak now for Perez, although it took him until his last at bat in the 9th inning last night, or yesterday, to extend that hitting streak. But he has not had any success against Sanchez. 0 for 9 with a couple of strikeouts in his career. Here's the 1-0. Back to out of there. 2 balls and no strikes.
Salvador Perez has been everything the Kansas City Royals said he would be when he burst on the scene a couple of years ago. He could hit the baseball. There is no doubt, but very good behind the plate, handling the Kansas City Royals pitching staff at the tender age of 24. Very few of their starters shake him off.
2-1 the count on Perez. And in that 12-game streak, a .370 clip with a couple of home runs. Trying to deliver here with Butler at second and 2 outs. Chopped foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royals head back home after this one. The Tigers will hit the road. They're in Cleveland for the weekend, then on to Texas, and then Houston. Sanchez trying to stop the bleeding here for the Tigers today in the final game of the series. Royals in search of the sweep. Here's the 2-2, nubbed off the end of the bat. Holiday will handle it. Perez is out, and that is that. However, Royals get a 2-out run and a double by Butler. Ian Kinsler will be starting things off for the Tigers. Their lineup today presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, and it looks like this. It'll be Kinsler, Jackson, Cabrera in your top 3 spots. Victor Martinez DHing. Well, J.D. Martinez just continues to get it done. 6 for 11 in the series. Castellanos will follow. Bottom 3 of Holiday, Suarez, and Rajay Davis for Detroit, and they're facing the left-handed offerings of Danny Duffy.
And Danny Duffy is 2 years now removed from Tommy John surgery, and he is pitching superb baseball right now as a number 5 starter in the Kansas City Royals rotation. He's got a sub-3 ERA, 42 strikeouts, 22 base on balls in the league, hitting just 195 against the talented left-hander.
So the Tigers have some ground to make up now, down by a run as Kinsler starts it off.
And Duffy has a fastball that will touch 97, although they say he's pitching right around 93 to 95 these days. He's got an exceptional curveball and a usable changeup to the right-hand batters.
Kinsler, Jackson in the 2 spot today, then Cabrera. Duffy's first pitch is popped straight up. Perez behind the dish, 1 pitch and 1 away.
We talked about Ian a couple of days ago, the fact that he's now dropping that back shoulder. And when you drop that back shoulder when you're trying to make contact, you're going to pop up quite often. Ian really needs to concentrate on making sure that those shoulders stay a little bit more parallel to the ground. Therefore, you can create more ground balls and more line drives, less pop-ups.
Here is Austin Jackson with 1 out. And Duffy starts him off with a strike. Fastball there, 94.
Austin Jackson has moved all over the batting order this year. He's batted 2nd, 5th, 6th, 7th, even 8th this season in Brad Ausmus's lineup.
AJ fouls it back out of play, and the count goes 0-2. How about our predictions for today's Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's Frozen Strawberry Lemonade? I've got the starter today, Anibal Sanchez.
And Cabby's got he's got a big moment in him this afternoon.
Austin Jackson is the selection of Trevor Thompson this afternoon. The 0-2 is sprayed foul again, back out of play. Well, for Jackson, it's been kind of an up and down season. He started very nicely, hit over 300 the first month of the year. Trying to find that consistency, although over his last 13, he's hit well beyond 300, so maybe that's a sign. The 0-2 is strike 3 called on the outside corner. Danny Duffy painting. 2 gone.
Tim Hortons will sponsor the starting defensive alignment this afternoon for the Kansas City Royals, and they've got a speedy outfield. They've got Dyson in left, Kane in center, Aoki in right, Escobar Infante up the middle, Hosmer Moustakas on the corners, and the Gold Glove winner of a season ago, Salvador Perez, is their receiver. Yeah, Duffy spotted a 95-mile-per-hour fastball on the black outside, and they say he's been doing a lot of that lately. No longer trying to overpower all the hitters in the major league, simply taking a little off and gaining better location.
Facing Miguel Cabrera here with 2 outs. Miggy, 318 checking in. He's had 5 hits on the homestand, only 1 in this series against the Royals. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and the count is 0-2.
Back-to-back 94-mile-per-hour fastballs thrown right by Miggy. Jeremy Guthrie, he overpowered the Tigers quite a bit in yesterday's game as well with good firm fastballs. Guthrie had 9 strikeouts in the game yesterday against the Tigers.
Duffy in search of the 1-2-3 first inning. Here's the 0-2, and he missed with it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Numbers on Guthrie yesterday, threw 105 pitches, and he also had the pretty good feeling of knowing that he would hand it over to a really good bullpen. Herrera, Davis, and Holland able to finish it off.
One of the better games I've seen Jeremy Guthrie pitch against the Tigers. And they've seen it a lot.
Down the right field line, that's going to slice foul back into the seats. 1-2. Seems like every time we see Jeremy Guthrie, we say the same thing. Why are his numbers not better than they are?
He was good yesterday, that's for sure. Drew Smyly was also very good, but just could not get enough offense to slow down Kansas City's bats.
Off the plate, Cabrera would not chase. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Miguel.
Total of 10 pitches already thrown by Duffy. The majority of them fastballs. He has one of your better breaking balls for a left-hander in baseball. That's how good his curveball is, but he hasn't really thrown one yet.
Low and in, 3-2.
Yeah, maybe that's the game plan of the catcher Salvador Perez, is to come out and establish the fastball first and get to some of your off-speed pitches a little bit later on.
Two out, nobody on. Tigers down by a run in the first. And Duffy ready now with the 3-2. He lost him. He started him off 0-2, and he ends up walking Cabrera. Tigers have their first base runner of the game. We'll bring up Victor Martinez. And speaking of Victor, when you combine him with his namesake J.D. Martinez, they have really been getting it done in this series. More so than the rest of the team, obviously, as we check out the numbers.
Yeah, they need some of the other guys to pick it up a little bit.
So Victor stands in now at .332, tops in the American League.
It's a nice job there by Miguel, falling behind, no balls and 2 strikes to work Duffy for a base on balls.
Martinez takes one outside, 1-0. Victor back at the DH spot today was the first baseman. He's 4 for 13 in the series. He has scored 3 times. 17 homers has put him on a pace for a career high, better than 40 this year. That's what the pace is that he's established, and now he's gone 2-0. So Duffy tiptoeing around Cabrera and Martinez. Snap throw as Cabrera was leaning a little bit towards second, and Mickey chased back. Duffy, 25 years of age, native of California, goes 6'3", 205. Big 2-0 pitch coming, and it's fouled back out of play by Victor. 2-1 on Martinez. Duffy had to work his way back from Tommy John surgery. He had that in 2012. Made 5 starts toward the end of last year when he finally got back on a big league mound and showed really plenty of promise. The promise that they've had all along for Duffy. At a 1.85 ERA in the 5 starts he made last year. And he has been part of a Royals staff that has been getting it done. 2-1 is popped up, foul, back out of play.
The Tigers saw Yordano Ventura a couple of days ago, 23-year-older, with a fastball that got up to 100 miles an hour, real good breaking ball and changeup. Today, Duffy, the future's awfully bright for the Kansas City Royals rotation.
Only 4 strikeouts for Ventura, but boy, was he impressive over 7 innings. Gave up 3 runs. Another foul, this one down the right field line. So Martinez now giving Duffy a battle here. After Duffy ran ahead 0-2 on Cabrera, he ended up walking him. And again, the 2-2. Fouled straight back. Martinez gets a piece. Victor, as you know, a switch hitter. And when you break down his numbers, this season, Victor is hitting .412 right-handed. In the splits, there you go, .412 from the right side, .304 from the left side. But certainly much more power. He hits more left-handed than he does right-handed.
And you dip a little bit further into Victor's career, and he's pretty much 300, whether he is batting right-handed or left-handed. That's how consistent he's been.
Runner goes on 2-2, and it's slapped back out of play. So Cabrera is on the move, slid into second base. He's going to have to go back. I think he didn't want to leave second. Fonte's telling him to beat it.
7 pitches already thrown to Victor Martinez in this particular at bat, and the majority of the pitches thrown by Duffy have been mid-90s fastballs. Victor has simply been able to, up until this point, foul them off.
Here comes pitch number 20 from Duffy, and it's low and in. 3-2. It looked like it might be an easy 1-2-3 inning for him, but now all of a sudden he's thrown 20 pitches.
Yeah, he was ahead of Miguel Cabrera. No balls and 2 strikes before he walked Miggy.
J.D. Martinez waiting on deck. Tigers trail 1-0. RBI double by Billy Butler in the top of the first. And the 3-2 with the runner going. It is fouled back out of play. So Cabrera getting his workout in. .393 this year when Victor is in a full count. Miguel again will be on the move from first. There he goes. And it's grounded foul right at home plate.
And one of the few breaking balls that Duffy has thrown in this inning. He missed with a changeup on ball 4 to Miggy.
Duffy 4-5, but a sparkling ERA of 2.83. Began the season in the bullpen. And this is his 9th start of the year for Ned Yost. Perez flashing the signals. In the air toward left, not deep. Long run and a fine running play by Gerard Dyson. No runs, a walk, 1 man left, 1 in the books, and it's 1-0 KC. Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. By Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. And by Jolly Time Micro Popcorn, the ultimate theater-style butter, microwave butter popcorn. It is turning into a fabulous day here at the ballpark. Sun is peeking through the clouds. The Royals on top 1-0 as we go to the top of the second. Anibal Sanchez back to the hill. Lorenzo Cain will lead it off for the Royals. And Cain looks at a strike 0-1. He's had a big series, 7 for 11 with a couple of RBIs. And Cain now is up to 322. Lorenzo also had a diving catch out in center field a couple of games ago.
Yeah, not only has he gotten himself a couple of knocks on the offensive end, but he has saved his pitching staff a few runs with a couple of dazzling plays in the outfield.
Sanchez with the 1-1, and it's a ground ball left side. Easy play there for Suarez, who throws him out, one away. That'll bring up Mike Moustakas. Well, Moustakas has had only one hit in the series, but it was a big one a couple of nights ago as part of that 7-run second inning the Royals had. Moustakas homered. Only 1 for 10 career versus Sanchez. That one hit, a double. Ball one inside. Left-handed batters came in hitting 158 against Sanchez. Here's the 1-0 pitch. One of those lefties was Alex Gordon, was a late scratch with flu-like symptoms. That's the reason he's not playing today. Dyson filling in left field. Moustakas waiting on a 2-0. And it's fouled off. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And one of the reasons why Anibal Sanchez has such success against left-handers, he's able to command his changeup and fastball counts. There's that changeup right there at 86 miles an hour to Moustakas. Moustakas clearly sitting on a fastball.
Driven toward left field, hit pretty well, but Rajai Davis backs up, has room, and there are 2 gone.
When you have the kind of command that Anibal Sanchez has with his secondary pitches, the hitters can't sit on one particular pitch, especially with a guy that has 97 with his fastball when he really reaches back.
2 up, 2 down here in the second, and now Alcides Escobar. He has hit safely in 13 of his last 15, has been one of their hotter hitters. 5 hits in this series. Getting on base a lot. He has scored 5 runs.
He can do a lot of things. He bunts for hits. He gets infield singles. He's been driving the ball the opposite way. Looks awfully comfortable in the batter's box these days.
Escobar batting .291. He's knocked in 23 this season. Hitting at the bottom of this Royals lineup. And a strike called, 0-2. Sanchez looks like he's ready to get on one of those rolls. He's retired 3 straight after the double by Butler drove in a run. And the 0-2 pitch. Little chopper foul down the third base line.
Anibal Sanchez in his career with the Tigers has a record of 21-16, but a 2.82 ERA. 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. If the Tigers could just get Anibal a little bit of run support, obviously those win numbers would go way up, but they just haven't scored many runs while he's been in the game.
Chopper to the shortstop. Suarez gobbles this one up, and Escobar is out of there, and Anibal now with a 1-2-3 inning on our way to the bottom of the second.
series, but J.D. Martinez has been one step ahead of him. Whether he's getting breaking balls that he's able to turn on, fastballs that he can shoot down in that right center field gap, or just simply just doing damage. He had a grand slam in the series and driven in several runs with several big hits. J.D. Martinez earning a lot of playing time these days from Brad Ausmus.
And it has certainly come in handy with Torrey Hunter out of the lineup these days. 6 for 11 in the series for J.D.
I guess that cramp that Torrey Hunter suffered a few days ago has continued to linger.
And the Tigers are being awfully cautious with it, as they should. And so Martinez has stepped in nicely and provided quite a bit of offense. 8-game hitting streak now for J.D.
He's got his batting average up to nearly 300.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Martinez sprays this one foul, back out of play, 0-2.
And Duffy continues to feature a heavy dose of good firm fastballs to Tigers hitters. Not trying to throw as hard as he has in the past. He's given up a little bit of velocity and he's gained more command. He only walked one in his last outing.
Here's the 0-2. Another foul, back out of play. Martinez responsible for the only Tigers run of yesterday's game. It was a 1-out solo shot against Guthrie in the 7th. Number 5 on the year for J.D. He has taken advantage of his opportunity. New life with the Tigers this year after he was discarded by the Astros. There's a strike call and Duffy carved him up, one gone. Second strikeout of the ball game for the KC lefty. And here is the Lowe's never stop improving stat of the day, and we're going to talk about Nick Castellanos. In March through May, first couple of months of the year, his numbers compared to what he's done this month, the average way up. 375 here in the month of June.
Yeah, Castellanos simply had to make an adjustment. A lot of teams the first month and a half of the season were giving him a steady diet of off-speed pitches. And the one thing that he was not doing, he was not laying off the ones that he could not hit. He has simply slowed the game down. He made them get the balls up, and because of that, his results have been much better. One thing we do know about Castellanos, he can flat out hit.
He's done it at every level, certainly in high school, but even in the minor leagues. And he sends a ground ball deep in the hole. It's short. Escobar. And Castellanos is out. 2 up, 2 down. Bring up Brian Holiday. Holiday gives Avila a day off today.
Holiday usually when he gets a start, he bats 9th. Holiday elevated to that number 7 slot in Brad Ausmus's lineup because, well, he's been doing a pretty good job lately swinging that stick.
We'll foul that one back out of play, 0-1. Avila off this afternoon, but Holiday's certainly been a capable backup. Ryan, 333 over his last 21 games. Showing bunts. He can do that. Then he takes it outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's a nice little weapon to have for a guy that's not considered to be a speed guy. Gerald Laird used to do that quite a bit too in his days with the Tigers. Here's the 1-1.
There's no doubt that bunt is a major weapon, but with a guy like Holiday, you like to see him do it with 1 out, maybe no outs, not with 2 outs, because he's not going to steal bases.
Suarez waiting on deck. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Big swing there by Holiday. 2-2. This Royals staff came in with a team ERA of 3.71. Only Oakland, Seattle, and Boston have been better. Tigers came in as the best hitting team in the league, average wise at least, at 274. Holiday takes it inside, and the count fills now 3-2 on Bryant. Duffy in search of the 1-2-3 inning. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And he got him. Strike three. Holiday was trying to coax a walk, but could not do so from Chris Guccione. Third strikeout of the game for Duffy. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Using hashtag Detroit Fan Photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Here come the Royals now as we go to the top of inning number 3 here at the ballpark. KC on top 1-0 in this ballgame. Sanchez first pitch is inside to Gerard Dyson.
Dyson was a late addition to today's starting lineup. Alex Gordon was initially.
Slice to the shortstop on one. Hops. Juarez handles it nicely, and Dyson is gone.
Gordon initially was scheduled to play, but Dyson inserted to the lineup right around the start of this game today.
Flu-like symptoms for Mr. Gordon, so he is not playing today. And he had 6 hits in the series, so they'll miss his bat. Nori Aoki stands in. Doubled and scored the game's only run back in the first.
He likes to swing at the first pitch. He's done it quite often in this 4-game series, excuse me.
1 ball to no strikes on Aoki, who now has a 6-game hitting streak. Whirling dervish up there at the plate, swings and misses. 1-1.
Really no need for Castellanos to play in as close as he's playing right now with Aoki. We saw him earlier in the game on a double. He's not running very well, which tells me more than likely he won't attempt to bunt today.
2-1 the count. Aoki has not hit any homers with Kansas City yet. He does have apparently some power, because in 2 seasons with Milwaukee hit a total of 18. Sanchez with the 2-1 pitch. Foul tip into the glove. 2-2 on Nori Aoki.
I think Miller Park in Milwaukee a little bit more home run friendly than Kauffman Stadium.
I'll buy that. Here's the 2-2. He checked it, and Sanchez missed. 3-2. Aoki spent 8 years playing in Japan with the Yakult Swallows. So look at his numbers last 3 big league seasons. 10 homers in 2012 with the Brew Crew. Full count pitch. Bouncing ball foul. Infante waiting on deck. That'll go foul down the left field line. Rain forced this one into a 4-game series after a rainout earlier this year. And when you play a team 4 consecutive days, man, it seems like they've been here like forever.
Not only that, I mean, they're 1 win away from sweeping the Tigers in a 4-game series in the Tigers ballpark. That's insane.
That has made it even longer. The 3-2. Little chopper to short. Suarez will charge. A little running scoop, and he got him. 2 up, 2 down. Another ground ball out for Sanchez. Time now for the Bernstein advantage, and Adibal certainly has the Bernstein advantage against Omar Infante. And these are updated numbers, including today. Omar now is 3 for 19 career against Infante.
Someone had to slow Infante down. He has homered twice in the series, and he's driven in 8 runs.
Sanchez has retired 5 in a row. In for strike 1. Take it back 6 in a row if you go back to the end of that first inning. Infante waits on the 0-1. He'll shoot that one foul back out of play. Omar really started nicely with his new ball club, Kansas City, in the month of April. Had 19 RBIs, but then he spent some time on the DL with a bad back. Lifts this one in the air to center field. A lot of room out there for Austin Jackson. And that's going to be back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Adibal Sanchez. He's retired 7 straight. Tigers Royals wrapping up this 4-game set here in the Motor City. Yes, Shep, he was an amazing talent, an amazing person, and certainly a fitting tribute to last night in San Diego to one of the great players, Tony Gwynn.
Had a chance to know Tony as a person, and he was a tremendous friend.
Suarez pops it up. Let's see if there's room for Hosburn. There appears to be one gone.
And the one thing that you admired about him, a guy that had as much success as he had on the baseball field, he was very kind to just the common man. Very kind.
Tony gained a lot of respect, I think, Rod, because of the fact that he could have made a boatload of money elsewhere, but he knew that he was comfortable. He loved San Diego. It was his town, and he just remained.
Loved San Diego. We spent a little bit of time there ourselves, and How could you not?
Yeah, it's easy to love. Rajai Davis will stand in now with 1 out. And he looks at a strike on the outer edge.
We had heard that Duffy, it was not the same Duffy the Tigers saw earlier this year where he walked 4 batters, lasted only 4 innings. His fastball command today has been very good, and 80% of the pitches he's thrown so far have been fastballs, simply overpowering the Tigers hitters.
Like that last one there to Davis. Here's that May 3rd outing against the Tigers. 4 walks in 4 innings, 2 strikeouts. And he needed 75 pitches to throw 4 innings on that day. Rolled to first base. Hosmer scoops it up, dives to the bag. How about that? Rajai cruising down the line. Hosmer thought he could just run there and then had to dive.
That doesn't happen very often with Eric Hosmer down there. He has won a Gold Glove, and he is a very smart baseball player, but simply able to really hustle there to get the out. I don't know if Duffy wasn't there or not. That may be part of the problem. The first base, the pitcher wasn't there. Yeah, Duffy nowhere in the picture.
Another ground ball out for Duffy. 2 gone. Top of the order now, Ian Kinsler. And he looks at a ball outside. Royals got a run in the first inning on doubles by Aoki and Butler. Butler's double coming with 2 outs. Grounded toward third. Moustakas on the backhand. And another easy inning for Danny Duffy. 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers. We head to the 4th. Detroit is brought to you by Arby's. Try Arby's new King's Hawaiian Roast Beef BLT today. And by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Back here in the Motor City, it's turned out to be a gorgeous afternoon. Hannibal Sanchez back to the hill in a 1-0 game. Sanchez and Duffy have been dealing today. 1-0. A run in the first by the Royals. So far it is held up. Hosmer, Butler, Perez here in the 4th, and a bouncing ball right side on the backhand Cabrera. Sanchez covers for the out.
We saw last half inning where Danny Duffy, the starter of the Kansas City Royals, did not break immediately on the ground ball to the right side of the infield. But look at Sanchez here. As soon as the ball goes down in the ground in that direction, he's off and running. And Miggy did not have to finish that play himself like Eric Hosmer did last half inning for Kansas City.
And Sanchez now has retired 8 straight, 6 of them via the ground ball.
Tigers were working on that just a couple of days ago. Early before the homestands, well, not the homestand, but before the series with the Kansas City Royals, they were working on pitchers fielding practice.
Don't see it very often. Once spring training camp breaks, that's pretty much it for a lot of those spring drills. The 0-1 is foul tipped into the glove.
It was perfect timing, though, for the Tigers because the first 12 games of the month of June, they committed 12 errors. So Brad Austin said, well, let's go back to the drawing board.
Butler is behind in the count 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Anibal Sanchez starting to get on a roll as he does every time he toes the rubber for the Tigers.
Sanchez has allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in all of his 11 starts so far this season. Nothing more than 3 in any start, and because of that, his ERA is in the low 2s. Working on a 2-2 here to Butler. Another ground ball. Cut off at third by Castellanos. And that's 9 in a row now set down. Hey, Comerica Park Party Suites for select games in July are discounted $30 per person and include $300 food credit plus an overnight stay at Motor City Casino Hotel. Call 313-471-2255 or visit tigers.com. Cannot beat the food in the party suites or the view or the atmosphere. 2 up, 2 down now. Here is Salvador Perez. Yeah, Perez nubbed one right in front of the plate his first time up, was thrown out by Holiday. Honeyball now has reached 50. Ball inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Anibal Sanchez has gone 9 of 14 in first pitch strikes. And to the first 14 Kansas City Royals he's faced this afternoon, and that's allowed him up until this point to keep the ball off the barrel of the bat.
3 of 3 in this inning for Sanchez.
He has gone up to 95 with his fastball and as low as 75 with this last off-speed pitch to Salvador Perez, but he gives you the same arm speed, and that's why his breaking pitches are so lethal. You see fastball coming out of his hand.
This is Sanchez's 6th start overall against KC. In his previous 5, he's not allowed more than 1 run. And he gave up a run in the very first inning here today, but nothing since. I mean, here's another example, a 3-2 record, yet his ERA is under 1 against the Royals. 2 very hard luck losses, apparently. And the 1-2 is off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Perez.
Seemed like every time the Kansas City Royals and the Tigers would hook up last year, they were very close games decided by 2 runs or less. And of course the Tigers didn't have the kind of team last year that could manufacture runs. Kansas City has always had that type of team.
Full count now, 3-2.
It seemed like the Tigers were losing last year when someone would get on base, whether it be Dyson or one of the other speedsters, and simply steal second base and manufacture a run real late in games.
Perez skies this one to center. Straight away, Jackson is cruising under it. And we've got ourselves a 1-2-3 inning. That's 10 straight retired by Anibal Sanchez. Time of the 4th inning is underway. In just a couple of seconds, Sanchez having a little fun as he walks off.
Duffy, 2 years removed from Tommy John surgery, not trying to overpower the opponents any longer, but he has really good command with the fastball, four-seam variety. He has 3 strikeouts today, all of them on the outside, black at the knees at 94 miles an hour. This is a different Danny Duffy than the Tigers have seen previously, but it's the Danny Duffy they're going to see for the foreseeable future.
Austin Jackson will start things off as we go to the bottom of the 4th in a 1-0 contest. The Royals on top here this afternoon. High chop. Tigers get a break straight over the head of Moustakas. Wide turn by Jackson. He pulls in with a leadoff single.
Sometimes it is better to be lucky than good, and the Tigers desperately need a little bit of luck on their side because Kansas City has had a whole lot of that in the first 3 games of the series.
Going to bring up Miguel Cabrera. That is the Tigers' first hit. They had a walk to Miggy back in the first. And then Duffy really got on a roll, retired 7 straight. Cabrera 1 for 8 of the series. And he drives this one to the gap in left center field. That ball is way back. And that ball is up against the wall. Jackson coming around to score. Cabrera has a double, and the Tigers offense comes alive.
I had Miggy with a couple of big moments today, and that's the first of the big moments off the powerful bat of Miguel Cabrera. And when your team is struggling, and the Tigers are struggling mightily, you need your big boy to put you on his back and carry you, and that's what Miggy does here. Doubling off the left center field gap to play Austin Jackson, who had singled to lead off the inning.
I think Miggy thought it was out. He was admiring that one. Then it's banged off the fence. Back-to-back hits off Duffy here in the 4th. It started with a single by Jackson.
We will start to see Duffy start to put a wrinkle in a few pitches now. He's been 80% fastballs through the first 44 pitches of this game. He will start to throw more curveballs. He will start to throw more changeups because the Tigers have clearly made that adjustment from an offensive standpoint.
Each ball club now with a run on 2 hits. And a ball inside to Victor Martinez, who flied out in his first at bat.
And right on cue, there's a 77-mile-per-hour curveball thrown out of the hand of Danny Duffy.
Duffy with the 1-0. Swing and a miss. He was on front.
Change piece. Oh, and a good one.
1 ball, 1 strike on Martinez.
Victor Martinez sitting on the fastball, and justifiably so, because he throws in the mid-90s and he pulls a string on him in the location. Well, you can't locate a better changeup than that.
That one's outside. Fastball away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Martinez in the air to right field. It's going to be caught by Aoki. And Cabrera will almost be tagged out. Ooh, man, Escobar came sliding in behind him, and they almost got a double play on that ball. 1 away.
And Miguel kind of was indecisive as to what to do here, whether to take a few steps off the bag. He got back to tag up, but then it was too late to challenge the arm of Aoki, and you see Escobar sneaking in behind, taking that throw from the right fielder, nearly got Miggy before his right foot got on the bag.
That's going to be close, and they're going to want to replay this, I think, or review it.
Well, they got to have a better angle than that angle.
So for now, Cabrera is safe, but that was an extremely close play, so much so that the Royals will challenge this here.
a better angle, but I really can't tell whether he tagged him or not there.
Call on the field is safe at second, so we'll see if Ned Yost will win this challenge. Here's probably the best look we have. And let's see, right there. Yeah, he's out. And that's the call. So Cabrera is doubled off.
It's a heads-up play by Escobar. Miguel, really good base runner, got caught napping at second base.
So that'll change the complexion of the inning quite a bit. The bases are empty now with 2 outs. A run in for Detroit. And it brings up J.D. Martinez.
It's another outfield assist for the Kansas City Royals. Every single year, they seem to be one of your better teams as far as getting assists from their outfielders.
J.D. looks at a strike. Royals outfield's just been flat out getting done. Gordon made a diving play in the ball game yesterday, which saved a run. Kane has made some great plays. There's a ball outside.
And that outfield there by Aoki is the 16th of the season for the Kansas City Royals outfielders. That ranks them 3rd in the American League. You think that ball initially was deep enough for Miggy to get back and tag? Had he been thinking that way?
Not sure. I'd have to look at it again. This ball's hit pretty well. Aoki going back. Track, wall, looks up, gone! J.D. Martinez is sizzling hot. Another home run for J.D.
J.D. Martinez has never been able to drive balls the opposite way with this kind of authority before this season. But it started in spring training where he lowered his hands, continued to work on that in the minor leagues. He brought that to the big leagues, and he's had himself one whale of a week.
Brad Ausmus just could not take him out of the lineup right now. Seven for 13 in the series, so that takes the sting out of the double play out a little bit. Here are the series numbers on Martinez: 3 homers, 6 RBIs. Duffy spins one up there that misses. 2-0 on Castellanos. Hit that one. The breeze blowing
against the traffic.
He's got enough power to do it. The 2-0 is skied in the air. Shallow right, Aoki coming in. Foul ground to retire the side. However, the Tigers bats, well, they come alive a little bit. They get a couple of runs on 3 hits. J.D. Martinez goes the other way, flexing his muscles. Sports Detroit is brought to you by the new Chevy Silverado light duty and heavy duty lineup. And by Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Branch out. Tigers offense branching out a little bit. They've scored a couple of runs here. And in doing so have taken the lead. J.D. Martinez goes the other way. A solo shot after Miguel Cabrera drove in a run with a double. That's more like it. 2-1 is our score as we go to the 5th inning. Sanchez back to the hill. Lorenzo Cain looks at a ball outside for the Royals. Cain, Moustakas, Escobar in the 5th. 10 straight retired by Hannibal. Right to the third baseman, Castellanos. One gone. Here's Mike Moustakas. Sanchez looking awfully comfortable out there now. Hannibal started the game by giving up a double to Aoki, and then with 2 outs, Butler squeezed a double down the right field line to make it 1-0. But since then, nothing going on for the Royals offense. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Sanchez has gone about his business a little bit differently than Duffy so far today. He has mixed in all of his pitches from the word go this afternoon. Duffy, first 3 innings of the Tigers, pretty much all fastballs.
That bat came winging right by Escobar in the on-deck circle. Fortunately, he was paying attention. Look out. Alcides will bat next. Here's the 1-2. Moustakas flying out his first time up, which now makes him 1 for 13 in this series versus Tigers pitching. He'll send that one back into the seats. 1-2 the count stays on Mike Moustakas.
Sounds like someone must have made a nice grab down there.
Someone got a round of applause. Drilled to right field. That's going to get down a base hit. Just the 2nd hit of the series for Moustakas.
That's a nice piece of hitting right there by Moustakas. His teammates, they call him Moose. He went to the bottom of the zone with 2 strikes and hit a pretty good pitch from Anibal Sanchez. It was a breaking ball, and it was down.
Royals have their 3rd hit of the game. Tying run is on now as Alcides Escobar stands in.
If you're Castellanos, you have to pay attention to the fact that Escobar will bunt for a base hit. And usually when he bunts for a base hit, it's down toward that 3rd baseman.
Ball 1 to Escobar. Alcides has 14 infield hits this year. As Moustakas dives back in safely. Kansas City 13-3 in the month of June. The Tigers, meanwhile, in the opposite direction, 5-11. And because of that, the Royals getting hot at the right time. The Tigers have dropped down into 2nd place for the time being. Escobar shoots one right by Castellanos, who was in a couple of steps. We'll put 2 men aboard now for KC.
When you have to play in because you respect the bunting ability of the hitter. If the hitter gets a hold of one, in this case being Escobar, and you are drawn in front of that 3rd base bag, he's going to simply drive it right past you, and that's a hanging breaking ball thrown by Anibal Sanchez. Most of his breaking balls today have been down in the strike zone.
That'll bring up Gerard Dyson. 2 on, 1 out. 4 hits now for KC. Dyson looks at ball one. He grounded out 6-3 his first time up. Averaged a 297. Late addition to the Royals lineup. Alex Gordon out with flu-like symptoms. Two and 0. Dyson sends a slow ground ball to first base. Sanchez will cover. Runners will advance with 2 outs. 3-1 goes to put out. Dyson retired. Moustakas to third and Escobar to second. Here are the numbers on Sanchez by inning. 70 total now for Anibal, and you can see he's been very consistent. Nothing over 18. Here's Aoki with his team down by a run in the 5th. Double and a ground out in this game for Nori Aoki. Ball one. Well, the Royals have pretty good numbers when Aoki scores a run, and he has scored their only run of the game. They are 23-4 when he does so. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Floats in there for a strike on the outer edge. Slap foul back out of play, and now Sanchez ahead in this count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Aoki a little bit tardy on that 94-mile-per-hour fastball after the previous changeup that Anibal Sanchez threw him.
Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 runs, 3 hits. Detroit. KC a run on 4 hits. Now Sanchez steps off. He wants his catcher Holiday to walk out to the mound. Very important pitch here. 2-2 count on Aoki, and right now the Tigers clinging to a 1-run lead. Here's the 2-2 inside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Should Aoki reach? Infante is next. Duffy allowed a couple of runs. Teammates trying to get him back here. And a check swing roller towards second. Gobbled up there by Kinsler to end the threat. Nothing doing for the Royals. They strand 2. Tigers got a couple of runs in the 4th. Jackson singled, Cabrera doubled one in, and then J.D. Martinez goes the other way to give the Tigers the lead. Tigers baseball today presented by Bell Tire. forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Tigers have a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Final game of the homestand, final game in this series against the Royals. KC has won the first 3. Brian Holiday leads it off. It'll be Holiday, Suarez, and Rajai Davis in the bottom of the 5th. Bottom 3 facing Danny Duffy, who surrendered 2 runs on 3 hits in the 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike on Holiday. Danny Duffy carried a no-hitter into the 6th inning against the Tigers last August. One of the starts he made after he came back from Tommy John. Pitched really well in that game.
He wanted that last fastball from Chris Guccione, home plate umpire, but he did not get the call.
A touch inside. Here's the 2-1. Outside now, 3-1 on Holiday. Bryan struck out in the 2nd. Suarez waiting on deck.
And Bryan should get himself a pretty good fastball to hit right here.
Got a hold of it and nailed it foul down the left field line.
He was ready for that bad boy. He had that leg up in the air and he was ready to jump on that fastball as soon as it left Duffy's hand. But that's what you want to do when you get yourself in predictable fastball counts. You don't want to be late.
Here's the 3-2. We'll get back into the seats. Here's the ratio on Danny Duffy. 40 of his 60 thrown have been strikes in this game. Fouled straight back. Duffy came in with a road ERA this year of 1.72. In his first 6 appearances out of the bullpen, then the Royals inserted him into the rotation. Had good numbers in the pen. A good start his last time out. Here's the 3-2 again. And he got him. Strike 3 again. Holiday tried to coax a walk one more time. For the 2nd time, he's punched out. Here's our Comerica Bank game summary with the Tigers on top by a run. Anibal Sanchez has been awfully good today. He's given up 1 run in 5 innings. Hasn't walked anybody. JD Martinez solo home run. He's having a big series. And Billy Butler has provided the only Royals run today.
Now that last strikeout there of Brian Holiday is the 4th of the afternoon for Duffy, all on the exact same pitch. A well-located 4-seam fastball on the outside black.
0-1 on Suarez, who popped up in his only at bat. In for a strike. 0-2. All 4 strikeouts in this game looking for Duffy. We'll get back out of play. 0-2. The count stays on Eugenio Suarez. 1 for 10 in this series. Had a really good series against Minnesota. High fly ball center field. Kane going back. Still drifting to the edge of the track to make the catch.
That is probably the easiest play that Kane has made in this series.
Well, Suarez hit that ball a ton, but he unfortunately selected center field.
We talked about their defense early in the game. Kane made a real nice play a couple of days ago, followed that up with an outstanding play 2 nights ago, and then you have Alex Gordon, who was a late scratch in this contest, robbing JD Martinez of another base hit and an RBI. JD Martinez was on the other end of all 3 of those balls that were hit into the gloves of the Kansas City outfielders.
Otherwise, he would have 10 hits in the series.
No doubt.
He'd be 10 for 12.
Is that good?
That qualifies as good. There's a strike call. 1-1 now on Rajay Davis.
And Danny Duffy starting to mix in a few more changeups, a few more curveballs. He's been led beautifully by the all-star catcher, Salvador Perez.
Speaking of which, he's caught all 4 games in the series.
He has.
And 2 of them have been day games.
He's a big body guy.
1-1. Fouled away. 1-2.
6'4", 240. And Ned Yost has pretty much played his everyday lineup all 4 of these games, with the exception of Alex Gordon being scratched this afternoon with flu-like symptoms. They have come into Comerica Park and they have done exactly what they were hoping they could do.
A little quick pitch rather there from Duffy, who missed outside.
A lot of swagger, and they will leave here in first place no matter what happens today.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And he got him, strike 3. So Duffy continues to deal. That'll be his 5th strikeout. All of them looking here this afternoon. Tigers go in order, and we go to the 6th.
Jim for his squad here tonight, and I remember having a conversation with Sanchez when he first came over to the Tigers, and he said he really learned how to pitch by watching Pedro Martinez, who was pitching in the big leagues when Sanchez was a minor leaguer. Sanchez said he overthrew all the time, but he noticed how Pedro could always reach back to get about 97 when he wanted to, but he always had that real good changeup that he could throw to left-handers and right-handers, and it made Pedro's life a lot easier, and Sanchez has patterned himself after Pedro, and we've been able to watch some of the results in a Tigers uniform for Anibal Sanchez.
He'll face Omar Infante to get it started here in the 6th inning, and Sanchez been on a roll today at one point, retiring 11 straight, and I guess if you want to emulate someone, Pedro is probably a good place to start.
He said he also watched a lot of Greg Maddux as well when Maddux was pitching for the Atlanta Braves. Of course, the Braves really were the only show in town at that time. Now you can pretty much watch any game on television, but the Braves are on a lot. He watched a lot of the Braves, and he also watched Pedro Martinez, and that really helped him evolve into a quality big league pitcher that uses all 4 pitches.
Sanchez acquired a couple of years ago by Dave Dombrowski, along with Omar Infante and the Jacob Turner deal. That has turned out to be another really quality deal that Dave has made. Sanchez becoming one of the anchors of this rotation. And you could probably make the argument this year he has been the most consistent of all of the Tiger starters. He's gone behind now 3-1 on Infante. Hosmer and then Butler to follow here in the 6th inning. In there is strike 3 and 2. backed up. Third base side, Castellanos to the railing, and he leans in and makes the catch. Great play, Castellanos.
It's a nice job by Nick. He's played enough home games to know exactly how much room he has over there after he gets close to the dugout. And really what you do when you're a fielder in the outfield, or in this case Castellanos, you kind of feel the dirt underneath your feet change from the grass to the gravel, and then you kind of judge your steps to tell you when you're about to hit that railing.
One away, here is Hosmer. Strike one to the first baseman of the Royals. Eric Hosmer, a couple of ground outs in this game. 3 for 17 in the series versus Tigers pitching. And Hosmer looks at a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's a bouncer that just goes foul down the third base line.
For me, Eric Hosmer is an MVP in waiting. And he has that kind of skill set. Power, of course, the glove takes a backseat to no other first baseman in this league. And when that batting average gets up and he starts to hit for more power, which he will do, he's going to be in that conversation.
He'll also steal you a bag every now and then. He stole one yesterday, which gives him 50 for his career now, which is the most by a Royals first baseman ever.
That may be one of the more underrated things about Hosmer that most people do not know about. He's a good base runner.
We'll hammer that one back out of play.
And the ball continues to work all 4 quadrants of the strike zone with his fastball, and the command has gotten, I mean, the velocity's gotten all the way up to about 94, 96 actually. Xfinity, thank you very much for that.
1-2 again is bounced back up the middle. Kinsler backs up to the grass to backhand. Hosmer is out, 2 gone.
We talked about Pedro, and we showed you what he's been able to do in his big league career. And here's what Anibal Sanchez has learned: to move the fastball around, change speeds with the fastball, and then once you get hitters looking for the fastball, simply go to your off-speed pitches. And because of that, he's thrown some balls that have been in the strike zone, but they've simply missed because you don't know which of the 4 pitches you're going to get in any count, because Sanchez is fearless with all of them.
Butler fouls it off at the plate. 0-1 on Billy. He had a double to drive in a run in the first. He is 1 for 2. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Tigers. A run on 4 hits for KC. Butler now 32 RBIs. Here's the 0-1. Left center field. Rajay coming on. Can't get it. It'll roll by him, but he's backed up by Jackson. Butler trying for 2. That may be a bad idea. Oh, he got in there, safe at second. We talk about aggressive. Jackson was right there behind Davis to back him up.
We watched Billy Butler last night on a routine single in the outfield, and he rounded first base so aggressive that you looked like he was going to try to stretch that single into a double. And Rajay comes in, leaves his feet, which means Jackson has to help him out. And Jackson gets over there, gets the ball, grabs it, throws the ball to second base, but not before Billy Butler gets his second double of the afternoon.
Tying run out there in scoring position. That is the 5th hit for Kansas City. Salvador Perez trying to cash him in. Strike called. 0-1. Tigers today have been out hit 5-3. Only 3 hits on the afternoon, but they lead 2-1. Thanks in part to the pitching of Anibal Sanchez. Slap back out of play. 0-2 now on Perez.
You can get Perez to chase in this particular count. You can simply go upstairs with a firm fastball above the belt buckle, or you could bury a breaking ball, which Brian Holiday more than likely will block if he calls for it. But you want to get him to chase something.
He wouldn't do it, and Holiday did block it, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, maybe the pitch of choice might be the fastball up around the KC letters of the Royals.
One and 2. Perez, a 12-game hitting streak. Career high is 17 straight. And another block by the catcher Holiday. 2 and 2.
Anibal Sanchez is about to throw his 94th pitch of this game, but it doesn't seem like it's really been all that stressful for him. But that's a lot of pitches.
Well, you consider he retired 11 in a row. A lot of them on ground ball outs. Not like he's been striking out a lot of guys today.
No strikeouts.
So that is kind of an odd number. His number 95 is about to come home. That is popped in the air down the right field line. Martinez running hard, and JD gets there. Nice running play by Martinez. Nothing comes of the 2-out double by Billy Butler. 5.5 in the books here at Comerica Park. JD doing it all today. Well, 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Tigers trying to end their lead against Danny Duffy. And Duffy will face the top of the lineup. Kinsler leads it off for the Tigers, and he looks at a strike. 2 runs on just 3 Tigers hits today. And the Royals, who are in search of the sweep, a run on 5 hits. Duffy in with a strike, and very quickly now it's 0-2 on Kinsler. Ian 0 for 2 in the ball game. Pop up ground out. Here's the 0-2. Driven deep to left, but he's going to get out in front of this one. Yank it foul. The 3 Tigers hits today all came in one inning. A single by Jackson, double by Cabrera to score him. Later in the inning, Martinez homered. Popped up, foul back in the seats. Danny Duffy has had really a strange path to the major leagues. He was in the futures game back in 2009 as a big-time prospect. Then the very next year decided he was going to quit baseball and did so for a few months. Then he came back, had Tommy John, and now he's finally fulfilling the promise that many thought he would have. He is a very talented left-hander. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ian Kinsler. Perez flashing the signals. Ian had another rip and straight back it goes. High fly ball, left center field. Not going to be deep enough. Dyson hauls it in. 1 out here in the 6th. Hey, by the way, celebrate the 30th anniversary of the 1984 championship season on June 30th. Tigers battling the A's at 7:08. First 20,000 fans receive a 1984 Tigers replica road jersey. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Here's the World Championship flag hanging outside of Comerica Park. 1984, the last year. There's a check swing by Jackson in for a strike, 0-1. Single to start the 4th. A high chop over the head of Mike Moustakas. And then he came around on the double by Miguel Cabrera. Danny Duffy has only thrown 80 pitches. Here's the 0-2. Another foul back out of play.
Of the 81 pitches that Duffy has thrown, about 75% of those have been good fastballs, 90 miles an hour and above. Anibal Sanchez quite differently from Duffy. He is about 48-50% with his fastball today.
Jackson just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
Yeah, that was an 82-mile-per-hour changeup turned over by Danny. Changeup is probably his 3rd best pitch at this point in time. Fastball's firm. Good curveball.
Here's the opponent average via the fastball and a plate appearance ending in a fastball. Cueto at 144. There's Anibal on that list. 3rd best on that list and the lowest batting average.
No wonder why. Salvador Perez continues to call for the power fastball out of the hand of Danny Duffy.
Missed with that one in 94. That evens a count at 2-2.
Duffy has 5 strikeouts in the game. All 5 strikeouts have come on fastballs, and all 5 looking by Tigers batters. So with 2 strikes, you pretty much know what you're going to get.
Shallow left field. Dyson coming in. A couple of fly balls to left. 2 outs in the 6th. And now the big fella, Miguel Cabrera, will stroll in. RBI double in the 4th. He walked in the 1st inning. In for strike one. Cabrera looks at the ball outside. 1-1 the count. Royals got a run in the first, led 1-0 until the Tigers got on the board in the fourth inning when Cabrera doubled in Jackson. That tied the game. Then Martinez later in the inning, JD that is, put him ahead with a home run to right. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Off the end of the bat, 1-2 on Miguel Cabrera, who now has 57 RBIs, which for the time being will tie him up for the league lead.
Nelson Cruz of the Baltimore Orioles having a really good year.
Giancarlo Stanton over the National League leads the way with 57. Here's the 1-2, and it's inside.
Did you happen to see that ball that Stanton hit a couple of days ago, home run down the right field line that left his bat at about 110 miles an hour?
I didn't see it, but I can picture it right now, having seen his swing. It must have been impressive. Here's the 2-2, low 3-2. Victor Martinez on deck. Ed Yost has watched this team come into this ballpark and take the first 3 games in this 4-game series. And regardless of what happens today, they'll be in first place, and they have made a bit of a statement. We'll get back out of play. The cloud cover here today has kept it a very, very pleasant afternoon. Temperature right now in the mid-70s. The sun has been able to peek through every now and then. A great day for baseball here in Detroit. We've dodged the rain. There was some thought that maybe a couple of these games might be in trouble with the precipitation, but not so.
It's a good thing that game yesterday ended when it did, because trying to get home yesterday in that downpour was not easy.
They added about another 20 minutes to my commute, which I guess is not all that bad.
Well, at least that much for me.
Again, the 3-2 to right field. That ball is slicing toward the corner. Aoki is going back, but it's going to sail back out of play.
A 77-mile-per-hour breaking ball thrown to Miguel Cabrera, and Miggy almost snuck one inside that foul pole down in the right field corner.
J.D. Martinez home run was hit to right field back in the fourth. Seventh pitch at bat right now for Miguel Cabrera. Driven right field. Aoki is going to be under this one, though. 3 fly ball outs, 1-2-3 inning for Duffy. On to the 7th we go.
Game summary, the Kansas City Royals got on the board first. It was a double off the bat of Billy Butler down the right field line. Miguel Cabrera provided a big moment already in this game, doubling in Jackson in the fourth inning after Jackson led off with a single, and J.D. Martinez, home run number 6. Since coming up from Toledo, where he was simply on fire when the Tigers went down to get him in April.
2 runs on 3 hits for Detroit, a run on 5 hits, and 4 men left on for the Royals. Here they come back now against Anibal Sanchez. We go to the 7th, and the first pitch is popped up. Off the bat of Lorenzo Cain. Is there room? Cabrera drifting. Yes, there is. 1 away.
A lot of flyouts, lots of pop-ups in this game today, off the bats of both offenses.
Here's Mike Moustakas. Sanchez came into this game with a 0.99 ERA, less than 1 lifetime against the Royals, and he's given up just 1 run today, and that came back in the first. Nothing but goose eggs up there.
Saw Moustakas out at dinner last night, and I tried to buy his dinner if he would allow the Tigers to win this game today, and he wasn't having none of that. He says, I can get it.
Well, they hadn't had really a big series. He hit the home run in the second game of the series. Only a couple of hits. Usually ball outside, and the count goes to 3-0.
He and Hosmer haven't done much in the series, the left-handed bats they have in their order, but the other guys have picked him up. That's why they call it team.
He's got himself a 4-pitch walk here. So the tying run is on with 1 out. Saturday, it's full night of Major League Baseball action, beginning with Baseball Night in America on Fox as Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers battle the Indians. Then the Rangers take on Mike Trout and the Angels over on Fox Sports 1. Our Major League doubleheader begins Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox and continues at 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. That's an even 100 now for Sanchez. And it's in for a strike, 0-1. Alcides Escobar, the batter. Single, ground out. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Sanchez in this game has gone to 6 3-ball counts. However, he's only walked 1 of those hitters. And that would be the Moustakas walk that he just surrendered. He is working against the bottom of the lineup here, guarding a 1-run lead.
Moustakas is one of their offensive players you really don't have to worry about when he gets on first base. He doesn't steal many bases.
Popped up. Second base side as Kinsler goes to the grass. 2 gone. Action in the Detroit bullpen. Albuquerque, the righty. Kroll, the lefty.
If Sanchez needs some help in this particular inning, it'll be one of those 2 guys. But if he's able to get through the 7th, then it'll be Jabba Chamberlain for the 8th.
Ball inside to Gerard Dyson. A couple of ground outs for Dyson in this game. Sanchez today limiting this Royals offense to just 5 hits so far. The 1-0. Sanchez has thrown as many as 111. They'll make it 114. That's his high water mark. He's about to throw number 106. A little bit outside, and the count goes to 2-1. Top of the order, lurking on deck, Aoki. Slice to the shortstop, caught there by Suarez, inning over. No runs, a walk, one man left. Sanchez, outstanding today for the Tigers. As we go now to the bottom of the 7th inning, stretch time here at the ballpark. Mario and Rod back here in the booth, and well, I guess an old-fashioned pitcher's duel here today. Sanchez has been great for the Tigers.
Oh, he really has. I mean, he really had to be good to slow down this Kansas City Royals team, which has ran off 10 games in a row. And Danny Duffy, we heard he's improved his command, and he really has done that.
And the Tigers have gotten just enough offense. They got a couple of runs in the 4th inning. And the first pitch missing high, 1 ball and no strikes to Victor Martinez. But what can we say about J.D. Martinez? Another big home run in this game.
Well, he'd have 10 hits, as you mentioned, had the outfielders not robbed him of 3 extra base hits in this contest. But the Tigers really need him to continue to do that because he's earned some playing time. Now the rest of the guys need to step up and start swinging the bats the way they're capable of swinging the bats.
Yeah, he certainly has come in handy with Torrey Hunter out of the lineup for Detroit. So Duffy back to the hill here in a 2-1 game as he pitches in the bottom of the 7th, and it's Victor Martinez and J.D. Martinez to follow.
Here's where Victor looks to cheat on the fastball inside if he gets one. He'll be looking to hit that ball into the seats in left field if he gets it. Missed it.
High fly ball left field. It's going to be normal depth out there for Gerard Dyson, and 1 gone here in the 7th.
Victor picks his spots when he wants to try to hit the ball into the gap or into the seats. And it's usually 2-1. He'll open up early to try to jump that fastball in the mid-90s to see if he can hit it out to left. That time he just got underneath it.
Eight straight retired now by the KC lefty. Here's J.D. Martinez.
Good curveball there thrown by Duffy at 74 miles an hour.
The 0-1 is grounded right to third. Backhanded play. Moustakas right in the money with his throw. 2 gone.
JD Martinez is squaring up everything.
Hey, the Tigers welcome in the Oakland A's to Comerica Park June 30th through July the 2nd. Great seats on sale right now. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Here's Nick Castellanos. Jabba Chamberlain warming up in the Detroit bullpen. The 8th inning will be his, as per usual. And Perez held it there, but did not get the call from Chris Guccione. And Duffy now has reached 100. Aaron Crow, meanwhile, warming up in the bullpen for Kansas City. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Fly ball, right center field. Aoki is on the run, and he slides out there in right center. Aoki with a nice running play. The Royals continue to play some defense in the series. 1-2-3 inning for Duffy. A little bit of help from Nori Aoki.
The Royals have made nice plays all series long, but the Tigers, they're flashing some leather today. Castellanos makes a nice play in foul territory. And JD Martinez getting it done on both sides of the ball this afternoon. He's homered and made a nice running grab himself into foul territory.
Well, it's the 8th inning. That means it's time for Jabba Chamberlain, who comes out of the bullpen here for Detroit.
And Jabba pitching in his 33rd game this year. He has 12 holds already. Number 13 would be lovely. 2.97 ERA, racking up lots of strikeouts. 34 of those, and not issuing a lot of free passes. He's only walked 9 batters this year.
Chamberlain in the wall side windows pitching change, and he will take over for Sanchez, who was marvelous again today.
And we were talking about Danny Duffy and the fact that he's about 2 years removed from Tommy John surgery. Jabba Chamberlain finds himself in that same scenario, and therefore his velocity with his fastballs back up to 96, an occasional 97, but it's his breaking balls that have been much improved. That would be the slider and his curveball.
Top of the order to deal with now, Nori Aoki, who made the nice sliding catch to end the bottom of the 7th. Aoki, Infante, and Hosmer. Royals have the field. They're going to get it done. This might be their inning. 7 strong out of Anibal Sanchez, allowed just the 1 run in the first. First one is outside to Aoki. In the game today, double, couple of ground outs, and he scored their only run. Did he go? We did not, says DJ Rayburn.
If you're the Kansas City Royals, you have to be elated with the fact that you are in first place by a game and a half, and Aoki really hasn't given you that much at the top of the lineup. He was a guy in Milwaukee that didn't strike out a lot, got on base a lot, created a lot of havoc. He hasn't been that yet for Kansas City, but there's still a lot of baseball to be played.
Here's the 2-0. And that's in there for a strike, 2-1.
Home plate umpire Chris Guccione telling Aoki that he was standing too close to the plate. He was out of the batter's box. He made him back up a little bit.
Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. The Royals were able to get Aoki from Milwaukee in exchange for Will Smith, the pitcher, not the entertainer. Will Smith, a lefty. That was back in December. Slap down the left field line. It's going to get down. Base hit. Rajay Davis over to get it. Leadoff single for Aoki, who has his second hit.
He got a hanging breaking ball up from Jabba Chamberlain, and looked like Ichiro Suzuki just serving it the opposite way. Ichiro style, and you can see he stumbled out of the batter's box. He's already battling a bad growing injury, but it has not kept him out of play here today.
Certainly has affected the way he's been able to run down the line, but he ran that fly ball down to end the bottom of the 7th pretty well. He's the tying run now with nobody out. We're in the 8th. And a strike called on Omar Infante.
Omar Infante knows beyond a shadow of a doubt at some point in time he's going to get an off-speed pitch from Jabba Chamberlain. It might be the curveball, it could be the slider. The key for Chamberlain is you must locate it down and away in an area where Infante can't handle it. He's already done a lot of damage in this series against his former squad. Omar has homered twice, and he's driven in 8 runs in the first 3 games of the series.
Line drive caught. Suarez quick throw, runner back.
Omar did get that breaking ball at 85 miles an hour from Jabba Chamberlain. He was sitting there waiting on it, but he hit it right at the shortstop, Gino Suarez.
Smoked right at Suarez.
That's a hanger. Jabba got away with it.
Going to bring up Eric Hosmer. Big swing there by Hosmer. He's down to the count 0-1. And one swing tried to give his team the lead.
He doesn't get cheated.
It's been a tough series for Hosmer. 3 out of 18 in this series. Wade Davis now has joined Aaron Crow. Bouncing ball to second. Should be 2. Kinsler, Suarez, and a double play. 4-6-3. The inning is over. Chamberlain does his job in the 8th. And the Tigers come to the plate in the bottom of the 8th, leading by 1. So we go to the bottom of the 8th here at the ballpark. The Tigers holding on to a 1-run lead. 2-1 is our score as we head to bottom of number 8. We'll see if the Tigers now can get a bit of insurance here. They've got the bottom 3 coming up. Holiday, Suarez, and Rajai Davis, and they will face Aaron Crow in a wall-side windows pitching change.
And Crow checks in with a 2.87 ERA, 18 strikeouts, 9 walks, 34 games he's been in this year.
Holiday struck out twice against starter Duffy. Perhaps better luck against Crow, who brings it home, and it's lined foul down the right field line. Only 3 Detroit hits. They all came in the same inning, the 4th. But right now it's done the job. An RBI double by Cabrera. Solo shot by J.D. Martinez.
Kansas City Royals have quite a few guys at the back end of their bullpen that have mid-90s fastballs, and Crow, he's one of those.
Here's a bunt, third base side. Moustakas throws it away. Holiday on his way to second, and he's in there standing up.
Brian Holiday attempted to bunt his first time up today. There was 2 outs when he attempted that bunt. This is a much better decision by Brian Holiday. He simply gets it down by the time Moustakas gets there and barehands the baseball. He's running past the bag, an errant throw by Moustakas, and it's a nice job by Holiday looking to the right to see that that ball had gotten past their first baseman Hosmer, able to get into scoring position.
So a huge run right now, standing at second base. Only the 4th hit of the game for the Tigers. Suarez showing bunt, they'll throw through, but Holiday gets back. Single E5 on that last play. Tigers box score. Not a whole lot going on, but just enough to have the lead right now. Suarez bunts to third. Moustakas looked to third base. Now Holiday going to try and get there, and the throw not in time.
Outstanding base running there by Brian Holiday. Take a look at the infield here. You can see Escobar here. When this ball's bunted, he's going to break over toward third base before the ball's even bunted. That means Moustakas is going to come get it. That's called the wheel play. And that's why Holiday wasn't able to advance initially. But Brian Holiday, because no one was at second base, he waited for Moustakas to throw the ball to first base, and then he was able to get to third base. You don't see the wheel play ran very often at this level, but the Kansas City Royals ran it to perfection there. Give Holiday some credit for still able to get himself to third base.
Infield in now for KC with the big insurance run, standing down at third with 1 out. Rajai Davis skies this one right side of the infield. That will not get the job done. Hosmer hauls it in. Davis is out, 2 away. So it'll be up to Ian Kinsler. Joe Nathan heating up in the Detroit bullpen. Just a matter of how large the lead will be. Tigers 0 for 2 with men in scoring position. Not too many chances today. 1 for 7 for KC. Down the middle it comes, strike 1. Checked it, strike called by Chris Guccione, and now it's quickly 0-2 on Kinsler. Silent protest at the plate as he stares down to the ground. Fly ball in the air to center. That'll end the inning and the threat. So the Tigers failed to get that insurance run in. We will go to the ninth inning. Tigers protecting a 1-run lead. Here comes Joe Nathan. Has come out now out of the bullpen for the Tigers, and he will pitch the ninth inning for Detroit.
Well, he needs to have the same type of inning that Jabba Chamberlain just had in the eighth.
It's going to be Butler, Perez, and Kane here in the ninth. For Kansas City, 2 runs, 4 hits for Detroit, a run on 6 hits for KC. Nathan's first pitch is swung on and missed. 0-1.
Yeah, Billy Butler's had a monster series, 7 hits, and he's hit the ball all over the ballpark. His bat has really perked up since Dale Swain has taken over as the new hitting coach.
Nathan's 0-1. He tried to thread the needle on the outside corner with a fastball, didn't get the call. Here is what Nathan is up against. Butler is 6 for 13 against him, and Perez and Kane haven't seen him much.
And Billy not afraid of him, but Billy not afraid of a lot of pitchers in the American League.
2 balls, 1 strike on Butler. Sanchez went 7. Jabba Chamberlain gave up a single and a hard hit ball to Infante, but then he got Hosmer to bounce into a double play.
And must keep Billy off the base paths. If he does reach first, Siriaco more than likely will pinch run for him.
Checked it, strike called in the outside corner. 2-2 on Billy Butler.
That's a real good slider there thrown by Nathan at 87. And lately his sliders have not been located where this last one was, and he threw it in the fastball count. Good pitch.
Got him, strike 3. Butler caught looking. He doesn't like it, but that doesn't matter.
Billy Butler was up there guessing. He was sitting on another off-speed pitch, and Nathan, one step ahead of Billy Butler, threw him a fastball that Billy did not necessarily agree with, but probably too close to take with 2 strikes.
The lower reaches of the corner there in the strike zone, but close enough.
He made 3 outstanding pitches to Butler to strike him out. 2 sliders and a fastball at 93 to get the strikeout call.
Here is Salvador Perez. Swing and a miss. Butler's still steaming. Foul straight back. Now it's 0-2. Tigers today have had just 4 hits, but it's been enough. They got 2 runs in the 4th. Royals haven't scored since getting 1 in the very first inning of this game against Sanchez.
And so far, Brian Holiday catching another really good game. 4 career starts against the Kansas City Royals. The Tigers' earned run average is under 2, with Holiday behind the dish.
Now the 0-2 pitch. Fouled off. Just got a piece of it. Popped up, but this one will find the seats as Perez stays alive.
Good call there. And by Holiday, he wanted Nathan to get the fastball up at 93. They did that, but Perez able to climb the ladder and get just a little piece of it. And you can see him motioning up with the right hand as he gave the sign. Then he puts the glove up where he wants it.
And again the 0-2. Swing and a tip into the glove. Strike 3. 2 gone on a pair of strikeouts for Joe Nathan.
That was a curveball there thrown by Nathan at 82. A couple of sliders to Billy Butler. Pulls the string with a curveball to Salvador Perez.
One more out. Standing between the Tigers and victory. 35,715 in attendance here today. Lorenzo Cain, the last Royals chance. Strike in the outside corner 0-1, and Cain has a look for Guccione.
Nathan very efficient so far. He has thrown 11 pitches, 9 of those for strikes.
And the crowd roaring its approval. Here's the 0-1. Just off the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike.
7 home runs for Lorenzo Cain this year. Most of his power is to left field. So if he does make contact and you're Nathan, you want to make sure that you make him use the big part of this ballpark. And that would be center field where Jackson resides.
Way inside, 2-1 now on Cain. He's able to reach Moustakas waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Cain. And Nathan now 1 strike away.
It's the best breaking ball we've seen Nathan with in about a month.
Well, the crowd is roaring now. Here is Nathan's 2-2. Swung out and missed, struck him out, and the Tigers win the final game in this 4-game series. They sidestep a sweep. J.D. Martinez hits what turns out to be the game-winning home run, and Joe Nathan emphatically slams the door.
Outstanding outing by Anibal Sanchez to start the ball game for the Tigers, pitching 7 strong innings, turning it over to Chamberlain, and then Nathan finishing it off to end the 10-game winning streak of the Kansas City Royals.
Tigers a winner here this afternoon. Back to within a half game of first place. Back with more from Comerica Park.